Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy. And lately, I've been getting a lot of comments and messages on things they should do before they open their skate shop. So, I made a list of things that I felt like I should have done before I opened my shop, which would have given me, I think, way better chances of staying open. And I know a lot of you guys who've been commenting want to open up a shop. So, here's a list of 10 things you should do before you open a skate shop, and I really hope it helps you guys out. Okay, tip number one is you're going to want to start a business plan. So before you get anything going, it's best to create a business plan where you have goals for your shop, you give yourself a purpose, and you give yourself a mission statement. This honestly goes for any kind of business that you do, but I feel like if you create a business plan and have all these steps laid out for you, at least for like your first year of being open, it'll make everything a lot less stressful and a lot easier. I know when I had my shop, there was like zero guidance. So creating a business plan can kind of help get the questions you already had out of the way. It can get you to look into them. But this will give you, again, a much clearer goal of what you want to do, and it could give people some confidence in your goals. So that's one that I definitely recommend you do. For the second thing you're going to want to do is create a budget for your skate shop. This means like figuring out your monthly expenses, how long your lease is, and how much it'll cost, how much product you're going to buy. It's kind of hard to tell how much you're going to spend when you have a skate shop because there's so many ups and downs. But if you kind of have numbers set out, you can predict kind of what you're going to do with your money. You'll spend it wiser. You're less likely to do things like I did, where I bought a set of boards when I thought I needed them, but ended up just having them in my shop a lot longer than I had to. You end up buying product from other companies you didn't think you'd buy from, and you just end up spending money where you don't need to spend it, which long term causes a lot of stress while you have your shop, and that's definitely something you don't want. You want to enjoy your time in there, and you don't want to have to worry about money. So creating a budget, and I'll do a video later on how I set up my budget and how I would improve it if I opened again. But I'll give you guys some realistic numbers on that. But yeah, that's step number two. The third thing I'd recommend before you open a shop is figuring it out if you're going to do it all by yourself or if you're going to have some sort of support while you have your shop. And by that I mean, is there going to be someone who is going to work the shop with you? Are they going to need to get paid? Are you guys splitting the cost of everything? Maybe you have a friend who just has some free time and wants to help you out, or maybe you have a spouse who wants to support you in your dream. I quickly realized that having a shop legitimately took up all of my time, and I felt very overwhelmed trying to maintain the shop and trying to do extra things in the shop to create like a community. So having someone that'll help you and be able like to work a few hours on the shop for you while you think of ideas or you need to go out and do an event, an extra person comes so in handy. And I wish I could have had someone to split the cost with me. That would have made it much easier financially. So think about it. Do you want to split this with someone, or do you want to do it all on your own? The only trade-off is you're going to have to compromise on things for your business or your shop. Some ideas you might not want to do or like will have to be done to incorporate partnership with whoever you're working with. So I guess that's the only downside. But yeah, that's number three. All right. Now time for number four. Since you figured out if you're going to do it by yourself or with someone else or maybe even three people, now you're going to gather your funds, and I strongly recommend gathering a year's worth of funds for yourself and for your shop. If you have a year's worth of money for your business, you're for sure going to have a lot less stress because you're not going to have to worry about making rent, which is something I had to do month to month. And it was even harder knowing that I had to pay my personal bills. So even if you take care of your shop, you'll have to worry about the extra stuff. So I recommend before you even open the shop, save up some money if that's what you have to do. Like, it's probably going to be like $40,000 you're going to need before you even open a shop. 20 for you, 20 for the shop. It'll be even easier if you have a partner, but I strongly recommend doing this. Your shop will most likely, I believe, last longer than if you're trying to make it month to month. This is what I personally believe. Obviously, there's shops that do great in their first year and they don't have to worry about it, but from what I've seen, a lot of shops go down because they just can't keep up. And honestly, a lot of businesses usually start thriving after 2 to 3 years, And that's hard. It's really hard, especially when you have a family. If you're by yourself, maybe you can get through it, but I really recommend like saving up that money, whatever it be, after you create your budget and everything. Be like, how much do I spend in a year? How much do I need to save for myself? And how much do I need for the shop? And once you figure that out, you will enjoy being in your shop so much more. And any business that you do for that. Number 5 is probably one of the easier ones, but it's being involved with your skate community. Like, figure out where you're going to open, go to the skate parks in the area, unless you're already a local, and just figure out what people are skating. From what I've seen, most popular obviously is like Independent Trucks, Bones Bearings, Baker Skateboards, but every area is a little different. Some people like more smaller brands, some people like the big ones and the legacy brands. So if you really want stability, I would recommend figuring out what people skate. Get what you know people are going to buy. And if you really want to, you can support smaller brands. Another thing you can do in this portion is ask the skate community what they want to be done. Do they want more events thrown? Do they want to see more pros in the area? Is there already another shop that maybe you can collaborate with when you open? I think it's really important to see what people want. Like, I personally like filming people, and I like throwing events. Those were the funnest for me, so I try to focus on that when I could, and that had a really positive reception. So double check on all those things. All right, now moving on to number 6 is you're gonna want to get your business license and all your permits. Pretty straightforward. You're gonna need all these things to find a space, contact distributors, and to do things legitimately. And you don't want to get in trouble with people, especially the IRS. So definitely get all your permits and licenses. That's about it for that one. All right. Number 7 is create a social media. This is very helpful even before you have an actual location, because you can get some buzz going around. You can get the locals to follow you, and then you can slowly gain some traction in your area. This is really useful for relaying the message that you want to be a shop and you want to open up. You can do little fundraisers through it. You can make some merch and sell it through social media. And that's about it for that one. That helps a lot before you open up, because if, let's say, you open up and then do a social media, it's going to be a little more difficult compared to having one before you open, create a buzz, and then have a good like opening month. So yeah, create yourself a social media. Okay, now time for number 8, and that is create a website and learn how to use a website. You don't need a physical location yet, but if you have a website before you open, you can learn the dynamics of it. There's a lot of random things that go into having a website. It's like managing a physical store to really take care of it. There's a lot that I didn't know and I wish I knew, so maybe you can get one early on, get a year's fee or something like that, and look up tons of videos on how to set up a website properly to get like good Google searches, because it's very competitive, and eventually you might want to just hire someone to run the site if that's what they're paid to do. Depends how much money you have. Obviously, not a lot of people can do that. I couldn't do it, but I wish I could have. And if you learn how to use a website, you can gain a lot of extra money online to support your physical location. So it's a pretty strong thing to look into. All right, you're almost there. Your shop is almost becoming a reality. Now we're at number 9. You can finally find a location for your shop, and I want you to take time to find a space. You don't want to rush it. You want to find the right price. You want to find the right amount of physical space. Make sure it's in a good area where you get good traffic. Make sure the lease owner, or I'm sorry, the landlord is a good person, or the company treats you well. A lot of places go out of business because they're just in the wrong spot. I recommend as close as to a skate park as you can, or maybe in a downtown area. You are going to have to figure out, do I want more foot traffic or do I want lower rent? At the end of the day, that's up to you. But again, if you follow the other step where you saved a year's worth of cash, it might be easier to make that decision, because I had a place that costed $675 a month, which was not a lot at all. And a downtown space for the same size costed around $1,300. But the foot traffic might have been twice as much and more likely having people to come in and buy things. So at the end of the day, the choice is yours, but put some thought into it and do some research on the areas. Maybe go to some of the businesses that are in that area and ask them how things are there. And for the last and final steps, you guys finally made it. You have your location, you have your money saved up, you have all your licenses, you have a social media, you have a website, you figured out if you're going to do it on your own or not, you have a business plan. Is contacting distributors from skate companies. This includes NHS, which has like independent trucks, Santa Cruz, Bronson. There's Deluxe, which is like Anti-Hero, Crooked, Thunders, all those guys. And then you have Mesa Distribution, which is Ace Hardware, and a whole bunch of other distribution companies. There's wholesale sites that I would recommend use is if you're on the West Coast, use AWH Sales. If you're on the East Coast, do Eastern Skate Supply. I don't know any for middle America areas. I'm sorry, but those are the two top ones I would go for, especially when you open, because you can get a variety of product. A lot of times you have specific distributions. They only carry 4 or 3 brands, but those other two carry a majority of them. And you kind of like have to call them. You have to get them by email. But a lot of these distribution companies won't give you anything unless you have a physical location already. So finding all these different areas can help you by saying, hey, I'm going to move into a shop in about a month or so. This is a photo of the place. This is where I'm going to be. Here's all my licenses. And they're more likely to give you an account. And I strongly recommend you doing that, because if you don't have any of these things set up, these companies probably won't even email you back. But you're going to want to contact as many as possible and kind of just choose who do you want to be buying from, because some of them have perks. Some offer free shipping. Some offer an extra board. But do your research, and now you've done all these things and your shop is open. Congratulations, and I hope you have a successful shop run. And I'd love to hear anyone who's opened their shop and tell me how it's going, or if they need any more help. I'm more than happy to answer some questions like I've been doing. And thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Sharing or subscribing really helps. And I think the next video I'm going to talk about creating a budget for a skate shop. I have one of my old ones, and I'm just going to go through it and update it for today's terms. But thank you again, guys. Much love.